I, 39-year-old man, was raised in a very white household. My mom was very much a follower of the American suburbia, white mom culture. This sadly includes the racism. I've been married to my husband, 44-year-old man, for 8 years, and he was raised in a mixed-race home, Filipino, Japanese, and black. It's normal in Filipino culture for multiple generations of family to live together. My husband lived with his mom, and now the three of us live together. My mom always said she thought it was BS, and he was a basement-dwelling mama's boy. Yes, she literally used these phrases, and a weeb neck beard because he lives with his mom. I still don't know where she learned that stuff. Anytime we've tried to explain the culture, she's been dismissive and sometimes straight-up discriminatory. She joked before that her culture was not being a freeloader. It's been several years of low contact since then, and eventually, my mom said she needed to come live with my husband and I, so we could take care of her since she's gotten older and her health isn't the greatest. I promptly told her no. Typically, when she asks, I just send her pamphlets to old folks' homes. This came to a head the other day when she showed up on our doorstep with her bags saying she's ready for me to step up and do my duty as a son like we do for. I laughed and closed the door. My mother-in-law chastised me and told me to let her in, so I did. We ended up having a conversation with her crocodile tears asking why I wouldn't care for her and if I didn't love her. I promptly responded with, "Oh no, Mom. I love you very much. That's why I've decided to honor your culture and never let you live with us. Last thing I'd want to do is make you a freeloader." Her backpedaling didn't work, and eventually she left. My family have been blowing up my phone since, saying I'm disrespectful and a horrible son. She can't live with any of them due to her health issues, so I'm her only option. My husband agrees with me, but my mother-in-law has been starting to make me feel a bit bad. She doesn't like my mom, but does feel I should care for her. So Reddit, am I the idiot? Edit. My mother-in-law was raised in a home where you took care of your elders, no matter how badly they treated you. She's struggling to learn and understand that it's okay to turn an elder away to protect your own family. She's 87 years old, and majority of her life was spent in a very different culture than we have here. She's trying to understand, but it's being respectful overall. I just get a quick chastising in Tagalog every once in a while from her about caring for my elders. If I just told her to back off, she would, but I'd rather take the time to educate her on why it's okay to prioritize yourself sometimes. As for the American suburbia, white mom culture, I was referring to the one my mom idealized growing up. I originally expanded more on this, but it went over word count. My mom idealized the bigoted white picket, must have a perfect lawn, or you're basically Satan, white is right, Americana-esque families. We didn't live in the suburbs. We could afford to, but we never did for some reason. My mom looks white, but neither of us are. I'm talking specifically about those types of families that are discriminatory and will call the cops on some poor POC that just happened to walk down their street. This genuinely happened in my town growing up multiple times. I know not everyone who's white is discriminatory, same as everyone in the suburbs aren't. Neither of those things are bad or discriminatory, and it'd be idiotic to think they are. Edit 2. The family who are bothering me about this would love to take her in. They cannot. They can't afford to move to my mom, and some can't due to their medical issues. My mom can't move with them due to a lack of necessary specialists in their areas. My mom has autoimmune disorders that she needs special doctors for, and those are in limited supply. My husband and I live by one, since his mom and I also have autoimmune disorders. My mom can't live with some of them, due to them living in snowy areas, and her having such a severe cold urticaria that it would essentially be the same as having someone with peanut allergies live in a peanut factory. If she gets too cold, her throat swells shut. Edit 3. While my mom does have important medical issues, as long as she's taking her meds, going to the doctors, and isn't in the cold, she is fully able-bodied and fully capable of taking care of herself. She decided previously that she's done working and done caring for herself, and wants my husband and I to do it for her. My autoimmune disorders are more severe than hers, save for the cold urticaria, and I'm still working full-time. She takes herself on hikes and is still very active. She's still definitely sick, but she's not gravely ill or anything. Sorry for giving off that impression. Also, she's financially better off than anyone else in my family, including my husband and I. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, besides your 10-10 response. There's the simple fact of protecting your husband and mother-in-law from her racism. Maybe gently try explaining to mother-in-law that you're not comfortable living with a discriminatory in any circumstances, but particularly when the family you're already living with is non-white. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I swear some of these narcissistic parents would rather gaslight and guilt trip until homelessness than actually give a proper apology and change. Unless if you feel like your mom has changed for the better, you owe her nothing. And even if she did, you still owe her nothing. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a busy week, and I've got some updates that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So, after my mom's dramatic doorstep scene, things didn't calm down. She's been relentless, trying every tactic to guilt me into letting her move in. She's even started a campaign with the rest of the family, painting herself as the abandoned mother in dire need of her son's care. My phone's been blowing up with messages from relatives I haven't spoken to in years, all singing the same tune of Family Duty. But here's where it gets juicy. Remember how I mentioned my mom's autoimmune disorders? Well, turns out she's been exaggerating her condition. I found out from a cousin who let it slip that she's been spotted out and about, looking healthier than ever. Apparently, she's been using her illness as a manipulation tool. And the kicker? She's been spending her ample retirement funds on luxury vacations and spa days, all while claiming she's too sick to live alone. Now, my husband's been a rock through all this. He's been dealing with his own health issues, but he's still been my biggest supporter. His mom, my mother-in-law, has been a bit more complicated. She's been giving me those chastising looks, but I can tell she's starting to see my point of view. She's from a generation where you didn't question family obligations, but she's also seen firsthand how toxic my mom can be. The family pressure ramped up when my mom staged a health crisis at a family gathering I wasn't at. She made a big show of fainting, but my eagle-eyed aunt noticed she conveniently collapsed onto a couch. My aunt's a nurse, and she called my mom out on her theatrics. That caused a huge argument, and now the family's split on who to believe. But here's the real shocker. My mom's been secretly meeting with a lawyer, trying to find a way to force us to take her in. She's been looking into elder care laws and trying to twist them to her advantage. I only found out because the lawyer she consulted is actually a friend of my husband's family, and he gave us a heads up. The confrontation was inevitable. My mom showed up again, this time with a stack of papers she claimed gave her the right to live with us. I had to remind her that those papers meant nothing without a court's backing, and that her financial situation made her more than capable of caring for herself. She didn't take it well. There were tears, accusations, and a lot of shouting. My husband, despite his own health, stood by me like a pillar. He reminded her of the cultural respect we have for elders in his family, but also the respect for personal boundaries. My mother-in-law, bless her heart, even chimed in with a few choice words in Tagalog that had my mom looking like she'd been slapped with a fish. The fallout's been messy. Some family members are on our side while others are still under my mom's spell. It's been a tough week of navigating these choppy family waters, but my husband and I are standing firm. We've got each other's backs, and that's what counts. As for my mom, she's still trying to play the victim, but her credibility's taken a hit. The family's starting to see her true colors, and it's not the picture of the frail, helpless mother she's been trying to paint. My twin dresses us the same and signs us up for the same college, but I submit my art to a show and win a scholarship. So now I'm planning my escape without her knowing. My twin sister Tali, 17-year-old female, and I, 17-year-old female, are identical twins. We're also the oldest of our siblings, with 2 younger sisters and 2 younger brothers. Thali and I have been presented as a pair since birth. We were dressed the same, named very similarly. We have the exact same middle name. Our hairstyles for several years were the same. It was all just the same. We even did extracurricular activities the same, and our parents fought for us to always be in the same class as each other. And we also share a bedroom. Thali loved it. She identifies heavily with being a twin. She's also got a very strained relationship with our younger siblings, because to her, only I exist. I'm the opposite. I have a better relationship with all my other siblings, and Thali is the one I struggle with the most. I never get any real space from her. There's literally nowhere I have that's just mine. When I started trying to gain my own identity, our parents became stricter about going to friends' houses, and we both need to go. Thali will never let me go without her either, and if she even suspects I'm doing something without her, she tells our parents who demand I take her. I excelled in art, and my art teacher wanted to put me forward for a competition running a few hours from us. But because Thali wasn't considered good enough at art, my parents refused to give their consent for it. Did I mention we take the exact same classes? Because my parents and Thali just waited for me to decide my electives, and then they got her into the same ones. One thing that has been clear since we were 10, and maybe even younger, and I just forget, is that we were expected to go to college together. The same college, we're expected to be roommates and request a roommate exchange for each other if we don't naturally get paired together. It was always my nightmare. For me, turning 18 is the time I want to spread my wings as Thea instead of just continuing on as part of Thea and Thalia. I never told my parents, but my plans are not college related, and they assume it still is after graduation. But I have been talking to my guidance counselor about other options. I'm thinking I might move out after my 18th birthday in June and work for a while to gain that independence, and maybe after a year I could do something. I never told my family, for obvious reasons. But my parents ended up getting an email from our temporary guidance counselor, not the one I talked to, with more info on the options I had discussed with the regular counselor. It also mentioned my not applying to college. My parents were furious, and they told me to get on the applications and apply before it's too late. Thali heard and was so upset. She started to cry and asked me why I was trying to leave her. She tried to find out what exactly I was considering, but I refused to answer more specifically. My parents called me deceptive and manipulative, and told me I'll be awful if I continue going against the plan everyone else wants. Would I be the idiot if I continue? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot by any stretch. You desperately need some space, and the way your parents have treated you seems very damaging to both you and Thali. You're being controlled and manipulated, and she is not becoming a fully developed adult. You aren't an AH for living your life. I wonder if it would have been better if you'd been transparent about this and regularly, repeatedly told them your intent to live separately, to get space, etc. But given their reactions, I totally see why you didn't. They seem to consider their goals for you to be the same as Thali, to be more important than your own choices and satisfaction with your life, which is beyond messed up. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I'd enlist as soon as you're 18. Get a job, get far away, get experience. Then in 4-6 years, use GI Bill and go to college. Build your own life and identity separate from Thali. If you do decide on college, refuse to room with her, preferably at separate schools. Choose your own major and not see her except at school holidays. This being conjoined and codependent is not healthy for you or her. I wish you had spoken to counselors years ago and request separate classes from her. Many school districts deliberately separate twins to foster independence, but it seems like your parents interfered with that. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a hectic week, and I've got some updates that I think you'll find pretty shocking. So, after the whole blow-up with my parents finding out about my plans, things went from bad to worse. Thali has been on my case non-stop. She's been following me around even more than usual, like my shadow. It's like she's trying to merge our lives even more, if that's possible. She's been snooping through my stuff, trying to find any hint of my plans. I caught her red-handed going through my journal. I was furious, but when I confronted her, she just cried and played the victim, saying she was scared of losing me. Our parents, of course, took her side. Remember how I mentioned our strained relationships with our younger siblings? Well, Thali has been trying to turn them against me too. She's been whispering in their ears, painting me as the bad twin who's abandoning the family. My little brothers, who usually look up to me, have been giving me the cold shoulder. And my younger sisters, who I've always been close with, are now confused and hurt. Not sure who to believe, but here's the jaw-dropping part. Thali has been secretly applying to colleges for both of us. She somehow got her hands on my personal information and forged my signature on application forms. I only found out when I got an acceptance letter from a college I never applied to. I was shocked. When I confronted her, she just shrugged and said she was doing what was best for us. Our parents praised her for being proactive. I've been feeling trapped, like the walls are closing in on me. I reached out to my art teacher, the one who believes in my talent, and she's been a lifeline. She's been helping me apply for scholarships and programs that could give me a chance to pursue my art seriously. She even offered to let me use her address for correspondence to keep it from Thali and my parents. But karma has a funny way of working things out. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, something subtle but incredible happened. Thali, in her obsession with keeping us together, accidentally mixed up our portfolios when she submitted an art piece to a local exhibition. It was a piece I had poured my heart into, and it got selected for a special recognition. Thali was livid when she found out the mistake, but she couldn't do anything without exposing her own deceit. The exhibition night was a confrontation like no other. My parents were there, beaming with pride, thinking it was Thali's work being honoured. But when the host called my name, not Thali's, to receive the award, the look on their faces was priceless. They were confused, and for the first time, they saw me as an individual with my own talents. Thali tried to play it off, but the host mentioned how the piece spoke of longing for freedom and individuality, which clearly wasn't something Thali could relate to. My parents couldn't ignore the truth any longer. They realized that they had been pushing us to be the same when we were anything but. The fallout from that night has been intense. My parents have been quieter, more reflective. They haven't apologized, but I can tell they're rethinking things. Thali has been avoiding me, which, honestly, has been a relief. I've been able to breathe for the first time in years. I've decided to take the scholarship my art teacher helped me secure. It's not at a college, but at an esteemed art institute. It's a huge step towards my independence, and I'm taking it. I haven't told my family yet, but I will soon. I'm not looking forward to the drama, but I'm ready for it. My girlfriend's singing is bad, but I lie to spare her feelings until a viral cringe video exposes the truth and she quits music. So I set up a showcase to win back her trust and confidence. My 22-year-old male girlfriend, 23-year-old female, is a very artistic person who loves trying new things. Her most recent obsession is songwriting. About 2 months ago, a friend of hers got her to attend a beginner's workshop for it, and she's been hooked ever since. She signed up for guitar and voice lessons and writes whenever she has a moment of free time. When she finishes something, I'm the first person she shows it to. I love seeing her so excited about something, and I'm glad she feels comfortable enough to share her art with me. She is, however, terrible at singing, like truly awful. And to be fully honest, she's not that good at guitar either. But obviously, I never wanted to tell her that. If she asked me how something sounded, I always said it was beautiful. I didn't think there was anything wrong with this kind of lie, since it supported her and made her feel more confident. She disagrees. To give some context as to how she found out I was lying, a few weeks ago, she asked me if it would be a good idea to start a TikTok page for her singing and songwriting. I could tell she was excited about it, but was nervous about putting her work on the internet. I told her she was crazy talented and should go for it. She lit up after I said this, and in the following days worked really hard to make videos of her original music. They didn't gain much traction, but she seemed to be having fun being a content creator, so I felt like I'd made the right decision in encouraging her. But yesterday, she walked into our bedroom sobbing and demanded to know why I'd told her she could sing. I asked her what she meant, and she threw her phone down for me to look at. On it was one of her TikToks. It was one of those trends where you duet another musician by singing color-coded lyrics. Her video had been reposted to a cringe meme page and had blown up overnight. The comments were all horrible, truthful in some cases, but really mean about it. She asked me again through tears why I'd never told her she was bad. I told her she wasn't bad, people were just mean. If hundreds of comments say I can't sing, then I can't sing, she snapped at me. So stop lying. Okay, I said. Fine. You're definitely no Beyoncé. You have a really unique sound though, and I love that you share it. I thought she'd feel encouraged by this, but it only made things worse. She started crying harder and insisted that the only reason she posted things in the first place was because I told her she was talented, and now she's been humiliated in front of thousands. She's deleted her TikTok account along with all her videos and hasn't stopped crying or talked to me since. I feel like she's blowing this out of proportion. I was just trying to do a nice thing by supporting her, and it's not my fault the internet is what it is. I don't think I should have done anything different, but since the internet put me in this position, I'm curious if it will think I'm in the wrong. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Now let's just imagine if OP told his girlfriend that he didn't think she could sing, or that her singing sounded bad. Let's just stew on that for a while. How do you goobers think that would have gone for him? Also, why did she rely on OP's opinion and his only before she put it on TikTok? She didn't bother to get her friends' or family's opinions first? Or did she know that he would tell her what she wanted to hear? Comment 2. You're the idiot. I mean, you're on Reddit. You know how vicious the internet can be. You set her up in the worst way for what? It wasn't even a half-hearted lie. She was crazy talented and should go for it. What the actual frick were you thinking? What did you expect was going to happen? As to your title, there was nothing inadvertent about it at all. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post about my girlfriend's songwriting and singing journey. I'm back with an update, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster. After the whole TikTok fiasco, things went from bad to worse. My girlfriend, let's call her Emily, was devastated. She had poured her heart into her music, and the internet's reaction crushed her. I felt terrible for encouraging her, but I genuinely believed that supporting her passion was the right thing to do. Emily's confidence was shattered, and she stopped singing and playing guitar altogether. It was like a light had gone out in her. She used to hum melodies while doing chores or jot down lyrics on random scraps of paper. But now, silence filled our apartment. I missed her music, even if it wasn't pitch perfect. The injustice of it all hit me hard. Emily had been so brave to share her art, and the internet had been cruel. I couldn't stand seeing her like this, so I decided to take action. I reached out to her friend, who had introduced her to songwriting, hoping to find a way to reignite Emily's passion. Her friend was shocked to hear about the online bullying and suggested a private showcase at a local coffee shop where Emily could perform without the fear of internet trolls. I loved the idea and pitched it to Emily. At first, she was hesitant, but after some coaxing, she agreed to give it a shot. We spent the next few weeks preparing for the showcase. Emily started taking her guitar and voice lessons more seriously, determined to prove the haters wrong. I could see the old spark returning to her eyes, and it gave me hope. The night of the showcase arrived, and the coffee shop was packed with friends, family, and a few curious locals. Emily was nervous, but when she stepped onto the stage, something magical happened. She sang with such emotion that it didn't matter if she hit every note. People were moved by her performance, and the applause was genuine. After the show, several people came up to compliment her. One guy, who turned out to be a local music producer, was particularly impressed. He offered to work with Emily on recording a demo. She was over the moon, and I was proud of her for bouncing back. But just when things seemed to be looking up, the producer turned out to be a snake. He promised Emily the world, but all he wanted was to take advantage of her newfound confidence. He tried to get her to sign a contract that would essentially give him control over her music and image. Thankfully, Emily's friend, who had been through the music industry ringer herself, warned us just in time. We confronted the producer, and it was a heated exchange. Emily stood her ground, refusing to be manipulated. We walked away from that deal, but it was a sobering reminder of the cutthroat nature of the music business. The incident left Emily wary of trusting people in the industry, but it didn't stop her from pursuing her passion. She's more cautious now, doing her research and taking things slow. She's even started writing a new song about the whole experience, channeling her emotions into her art. As for me, I've learned a lot too. I've realized that blind encouragement isn't always helpful, and honesty, when tempered with kindness, is crucial. I still believe in Emily and her music, but I'm more mindful of how I express my support. We're still dealing with the fallout from the producer's deception, and Emily's trust in the music world has been shaken, but she's resilient, and I know she'll come out of this stronger. She's already talking about organizing another showcase, this time with a few other local artists she's met along the way. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.